What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 5150 Gringo Garage. Today we're going to be changing the radiator on the 2006 Toyota Camry. So let's go ahead, get straight into it and check it out. Alright, so this is the 2006 Toyota Camry. This is a 4-cylinder, so as you can see, we got plenty of room to get up into this radiator. The issue it was having, I don't know if you can see, but right all across the top it is all wet. It is leaking and dripping down to the bottom, so we know that's bad. Coolant is, going everywhere. So anyways, first thing is first, do not do this while the car is hot. Make sure you let it cool down, which as you can see, it is cooled down. So no need to worry about burning yourself and getting hot coolant all over everything. We're gonna be taking off the radiator hose here and one on the bottom, which comes up right here. We're gonna be taking the fans, which looks like there's 3 10mm bolts. Pull that out. Also, there will be a drain plug at the bottom. We will drain the coolant, which will go into this container. We will take this cover off, which there is just some Phillips screws that hold it on, and the job should be pretty quick, pretty easy, and we'll get that out of the way. And also, one more thing, this air intake has to come off. There's 2 10mm bolts. Can't even talk right. So there's 2 10mm bolts here and here. This intake is going to pull out. That will give us access to the bolt underneath to pull our fans out. Alright, so first things first, 2 10mm. We go ahead and take those out by hand. So just like that, little tricky, but just got to wiggle it on out, and now we have access. What you could do too is put those right up there, but don't lose them, and that will let you know where to go. Next, we got to take these Phillips screws out. Let's get you out in here. It's nice. See, you got all this access. So you can get to the drain plug here, which we will slide this container right under there. Go ahead and open it up. So anyways, I'm gonna let this drain and I'll get right back to you. Alright, well, the radiator is draining. I'm gonna go ahead and pop off the top hose and try to get these fans out. So first, we'll go ahead and get ourselves our tools set up over here. And use some pliers. Work that one loose. And this looks like a little flat head, so I'm gonna grab one of those. Top hose is off. Now you can see we got a lot of access over here. Like I said, we got a 10mm to take these top bolts out, and they are located right here. Right here in the middle, and last one right over here. And we'll go ahead and remove the hose for the overflow tank. And it looks like we have a plug right over here. So this is going to be unplugged. So black and black, gray and gray, so we don't need them label them because they only go one way here. So you get your 2 gray fan motors. You may not even need to do the top ones like I did. So this fan can come out now. Let's pop this gray donkey off. Alright, so what I did is I popped the top of the bottom radiator hose off. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right here. And then I pushed the radiator hose forward. Let's see if you can get down there and look. So you can see the hose right down there. So I took it off the little thing, pushed it forward, and now we should be able to zoom out here, get this As you can see, this is where the radiator hose is, and I just popped it off, moved it forward. So it looks like we got 2 transmission lines that we got to take off, and the bottom radiator hose. So you can see at the bottom down there, we got to take off that clamp right here, and our bottom hose, which is right here with another clamp, but we will get that with the going underneath. So from here we can get our pliers. We are leaking a little transmission fluid, no big deal. It's gonna happen. Alright. Everything is undone. We gotta take this, looks like we gotta take this sucker off. This top part, loosen it at least with the 10mm. At least get that up. And right, this one looks good. There we go. So now I can lift out of the way. I should be able to pull this forward and pop it out. Without, we gotta take this little doodad off. Just a flat head underneath, pry it up. Alright, so after we get our radiator out, this is going to be the one we're replacing with. Part number 432701, bought at O'Reilly for how much? 140 bucks for a new radiator. So we want to go ahead and make sure we don't have to change nothing over, and if we do, we got our old one out, and let's compare them. Alright, so you see, I mean, these probably ain't going to make much of a difference because your lines on the bottom are rubber. You can fit them however you want. We got our same mounting holes. Make sure those all line up. Got your tabs, those look good. And then of course, the spot where your cap and filler hose or your radiator hoses go are all in the same location, and they're the same size. So they all look good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna set this one in there and just see if those rubber hoses will line up with this. Lift up a little bit. One thing I see we got to change, we got to put the rubber grommets on the tops here. But I'm looking here, this hose will line up just fine. And this hose will line up just fine. So we're going to be good to go. So go back to, well, this one will come over here and get these. We need these little tabs. Looks like we got one. And then the other one's already on here. And this one goes on top over here. So this is supposed to actually sit up in there, but it came out with it. Not a big deal. That's why we always look. So we'll just push that back in there, lift it up, and now set her down. Make sure the bottom lines up in the holes at the bottom. It's good. Now we go ahead and put our screws back in. Exactly opposite what we did. go. Everything's good to go. Now, we just got to add the coolant, let it run, top it off, and call it a day. Alright, so the coolant we're using is the Prestone All Vehicle. This will work for any color. We got the full strength, so what I did is I poured half of it into a empty gallon that I had, so this is completely empty. Filled it up halfway, and the rest distilled water. Make sure half and half, that's what you want. You could buy the stuff already pre-mixed, but you're gonna pay twice as much. So we're just gonna try to see if we can get this without a funnel. Looks like it's working good. So I already put a half a gallon in there. Some pre-mixed, that's how I got the empty jug there, is I poured the rest of that one in there. We're just gonna pour it until it fills up. So we'll go ahead, we're gonna connect the battery and start the car. Alright, so we got the car running. We're gonna wait for this to start circulating. Last thing I completely forgot about was the air intake tube, not a big deal. We just slapped that sucker right back on and put the bottom cover on. That's down there. You don't need to see that. Super simple. So let's go ahead and let this run for a while, let it get hot. Make sure our fans kick on, turn on the air, make sure the other fan kicks on, and that's it. Alright, so we got this car up to temperature. You can see our fans are working. Coolant's flowing. One thing is we had the heater running full blast so it circulates through the heater core back here and back around, gets all the bubbles out. But I used the blue driver. I have it plugged in so I can see the temperature. It's at about 205 when the fans kicked in, but it's maintaining around 195. And then once it gets about 205, it kicks in, cools it right back down. I can't show you the blue driver because I have to look at it on this phone right here, and I'm using it to record. So anyways, everything's looking good. Make sure we got our coolant topped off, and from here we could just keep adding more until it gets full, and then that's pretty much a wrap. Just throw our intake back on and bada boom bada bing. Slip this donkey back on. Some people I think were wondering what that thing is down there. It plugs onto the bottom of this, but I think that there just catches moisture or rain or whatever. If you're going through water, it's going to catch it in that canister down there. Makes sense. So it's going to go down and back around. Perfect. Put our 10 millimeters back in there. So make sure you don't lose them, which I almost lost them. I'm going to use one of my favorite tools here. People don't even use these anymore, but I do. And that's it. So we're done with the radiator change. Worked out well, super simple, not very hard to do. I think most people could do this at their house with just a few tools. All I had was a 10 millimeter socket, ratchet, Phillips screwdriver, and a pair of pliers. And the radiator is done, changed, working well. So thanks for watching the video. See you on the next one.